Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Brand Pitch, the Talk Hockey Radio Network podcast. This week we're joined by Sam from Omega Hockey. Omega Hockey have just put out their new Origin range, which launched for pre-order on the 1st of April. In this we talk through their new range, the decision making that goes on behind the scenes at Omega Hockey, and what they look for in sponsor applications. Sam, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's start off by talking about your brand, which is Omega Hockey. How did that get started?
Right, so Omega is quite of a funny but boring story really from our behalf. But me and my partner Chris, we was playing a hockey game for one of our regimental corps, and we sat in the pavilion afterwards, just sitting around. And then Chris turned around and was like, "I've had enough of this brand. I just want to start a new brand." And he turned around at me and looked at me and said, "Do you fancy starting a brand?" I was just like, "Yeah, go on then. No worries, let's do it." And I didn't think anything of it. I think he's just taking a mick, really. And then a couple of months after, he messages me and says, "So, about this brand, do you want to start it or not?" I was like, "Oh, I thought you was joking. Do you actually want to start a brand?" I've got no business past. I mean, I've been a soldier for the past 11 years, so I ain't got no business knowledge whatsoever. So I was like, "Well, you know what? Let's give it a go." And then from there, it blossomed. We went for our beta range, and then finally released last November 2019 for our primordial range, and it just flourished from there, really.
And where did the name Omega Hockey come from?
Well, for about 2-3 months, we was just going through names constantly, rattling them off one by one. Like, no, 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 that's already been taken. Can't have that. No, no, no. And then we just decided, you know what? Let's start our designs for our sticks first, and then we'll pick the name from there. So we decided to go for mythological gods, and we said, "Oh, let's go Greek gods first." So Greek gods. I'm just thinking, right, we're having the beta range as our sample range for people to test. What about alpha? And then we was thinking, oh, alpha is already a brand, but obviously spelt different. And it's just Omega. And then we looked at each other and thought, Omega, that's the one. That is the name. Get that written down. Let's put that into the process, and that's how we came up with it.
And you touched on it there that your original range of sticks were named after the Greek pantheon of gods.
Yes.
You've recently come out with your new range, which is the Origin range, which
Yes.
I've noticed is named after the Egyptian pantheon.
Yeah.
Is there any distinction why you've jumped from?
Well, we've already said our first range is Greek, and then it took a couple of designs. It took a few months to actually come out for our new range, because obviously last year's range, where we only released halfway through the season, we thought we'd extend the range to give people a chance to obviously use our equipment and see what Omega Hockey is about. So we decided to go Egyptian because we was going to go down some different routes as well. But we thought Egyptian. My partner Chris, he plays for the Lithuanian national team, and he was telling me his manager gave a presentation about the origins of hockey, and what came up was ancient Egypt. They used to play hockey back in their time, so that's where the name Origins came from. We thought that fits lovely with the next range. Let's go with Egyptian. So that's where the Origins originated from.
So let's talk through the new range. So we will start out at the top end. So we have the Osiris, the Ra, and the Priscilla as your 3 100% carbon sticks.
Yeah.
The Osiris is the extreme low bow with a drag flicking groove.
Yes, so Osiris is the redesigned and updated Typhon stick. We had obviously a lot of positive feedback, but we also had some negative feedback as well, which is very common. We took all the negative feedback. It weren't so negative as in it was a bad stick. It was more what can be improved on the stick. So one of them was the reverse hitting zone, what we've got on the stick now. A few customers said that it would be better if it just had a bit more reinforced carbon in some areas of the stick. So we implemented that, and we made the groove, the drag flicking groove, a little bit more deeper, just so, because a lot of customers says that it did trap well and it did stick to the ball well when drag flicking, but it just needed that little bit more just so it connected through the actual jag flick itself. So it is the redesigned Typhon mold.
And you touched on one of your new technologies that are in the stick this year, which is the reinforced hitting zone.
Yes.
Is that specifically targeted at the backhand zone, or is there any reinforcements being made to the face as well?
Yeah, so I've actually got the stick here, actually. This whole part of the stick here is all reinforced with another 4 layers of carbon, just this bit here. A couple of customers found that, especially the big reverse hitters, they started to see little fragments, little cracks form in the stick after a year's use of the stick. So we thought we'd just reinforce that area, but it can. So whilst testing the actual stick itself, we found that it actually worked well as well from hitting, slapping from that area as well, catching it in midair. It performed quite well in that area.
Moving on to the Rastic.
Yes.
That's, as we've said, 100% carbon, and this is a Lobo mold.
Yes.
So a little bit higher with the maximum bow point, and then the Priscilla, which is again a Lobo. This one featuring a groove.
Yes, I haven't actually got the sample with us. So Priscilla was actually in my wife's family, it was a tragic death through cancer. So that was, as soon as that news hit, I wanted to do something for the family. So I literally went out and completely designed a fresh new stick. This one has a groove. I'll show you on the Osiris stick. The groove starts from the reverse hitting zone and it comes all the way into the head of the stick itself. So that is a completely new, redesigned, just completely new mold. Completely new stick featuring in the range.
And as you said there, this is a stick where you are giving all of the profits to a cancer charity.
Yes, all the profits from each sale will go to cancer research.
I'd just like to say, very good on you for stepping up and making that charitable donation.
Thank you.
But we're here to talk about hockey sticks.
Yes.
Okay, so moving down from that, we have the Anubis, which is a 90% carbon stick.
Yes.
Again,
Anubis.
An extreme Lobo.
Yes.
And I noticed that this stick is the only one out of this new range which has its finish listed among its features, which is the gloss finish. Is there any reason why that's been called out?
So whilst actually designing the stick, the colours were actually going to be a black stick with black logo and black writing, because the mold is from the prototype shadow mold we had last season, but we decided to go with the gold writing, and Chris said, shall we just try it in gloss, see if it stands out? And the sample came through and the finish just looked perfect. I've actually got the stick here, so I don't know if you can see it on the actual camera itself. But obviously the gloss finishes at the actual O itself. But it's the gloss just made the stick stand out. It made the pattern stand out, and it looks great. I mean, it is so far the first gloss finish stick. That's no hint to maybe an upcoming stick coming out for the new range, but we haven't released yet. But so far, it's the first gloss finish stick.
And do you find that the gloss finish gives you any improvements in the resilience of the stick?
Testing it, yes and no. I mean, to be honest, the difference between gloss and matte finish, there isn't any massive difference between them, because obviously it's just what it's actually finished with, either a matte spray paint or a gloss spray. But there's not a massive difference, but it actually, from our previous gloss sticks, it actually lasts a lot longer. There's no like obvious chips and scratches and stuff what normally come on a stick if you use it quite a lot.
Following on, we have the Horus.
Yes.
Which is a 70% mid-bow stick. Is there any reason why you have only got a mid-bow available in a 70?
So last range with the previous mid-bow we had a lot of customers message us saying, can we please have a higher carbon percentage in a mid bow, even though the stick previously sold out very, very well and it was very well received. The people who used it as well said, can we have a larger carbon content in your mid bow? So we took that on board and thought, you know what, all right, we'll do a 70% mid bow, and then obviously later down the line we'll look at making different variants like we did with the last range.
So looking down the line, are we going to expect a few more sticks in the 70% range and a few more in the 90?
Yeah. Obviously I won't go into massive details, but there is something coming which will sit lovely in the middle of the 100s and 70s and 90s. So it's we've got some things in the pipeline, we've got some designs. It's just shall we release with the initial release day, or shall we hold back and wait for people to ask for more? It's one of those ones. We're a bit, when shall we do it kind of thing.
And if I'm correctly remembering, your release day for this range was April the 1st?
Yes, we had a couple of comments on the actual Priscilla stick asking if it was a joke, but no. So we wanted to release the actual range on April the 1st because obviously it gives a couple of months for people to actually pre-order the stick, and we can start releasing more details about the sticks and the range apart from the sticks themselves. Other bits of the range what are coming out further down the line. I mean, our initial release date is in the first week of June. So it gives us enough time to finish off our testing of all our kit and gives people something to look forward to as well.
So you have touched on it there, so we'll just jump ahead a little bit and talk about this season. You are launching with a pre-order campaign.
Yes.
So again, if I'm remembering correctly, it's up for pre-order and that gives them a 2-week head start on when the sticks officially go on sale. Is that correct?
Yes. So we was going to initially do this for our sponsored athletes, but we decided to do it for everyone. If you pre-order from now until we release them to the public for pre-order, really. So we're looking at shipping them out last 2 weeks of May. We've got quite a busy month in May to get everything finished and finalised, and then we'll ship them out to the public end of May and then there's initial release in June.
And is there any reason why you've decided to go with this pre-order campaign rather than the usual build-up that most brands will do?
So previous, especially last range, when we released the stick, they sold out quite quickly, and some of the sticks sold out quite quickly, and there was obviously, we didn't expect them to sell out that quick, and then we had obviously messages and emails from customers asking when they would next be back in stock. So we thought, obviously, how the world is today, we need to give something for someone to look forward to, and a pre-order is just that. You pre-order your stick and you've got 2 months, maybe a month and a half, 2 months to look forward to your brand spanking new stick ready for hopefully a new season. So yeah, we just wanted to give the customers basically a head start, because if we released them all on release day and if they did all sell out and people are missing out, we didn't want that. So we wanted everyone to have a fair chance of actually getting one of our new sticks.
We'll jump back into the Origin range. So we've got 2 specialist sticks that we haven't touched on yet. The first one is the Scarab, which is the goalkeeping stick, which is 50% carbon, and you have it listed as being reinforced.
Yeah, so the whole so this range, we decided to take the curve out of our sticks. Unlike the Warden in our primordial range, we decided to go with a straight mold and just reinforce that whole stick with extra layers of carbon. We found that a lot of our keepers who used our actual keeper stick, they got, after a very long time, they got a little bit damaged, not major. So a bit of feedback was, is there any way we can reinforce the sticks? Took that on board. We went back to our production team and said, can you reinforce that whole stick from shaft down to head? And I was like, yeah. So yeah.
With the goalkeeping stick, have you had any calls for a higher carbon percentage? Because I know some goalkeepers prefer to have a softer feeling stick so that they have a bit more control when they're saving the ball. Some prefer to have a very stiff stick because they believe that the extra stiffness will give them better rebound.
Yeah. So again, pointing back to our last range, it's the same thing. A lot of goalkeepers were using our Hades stick, especially for a goalkeeping stick. So obviously, our Scarab is aimed at the goalkeeper, and all our other sticks are aimed at any player in the outdoor hockey. Sorry. So there is the range where a goalkeeper can choose a higher percentage stick without actually aiming at the goalkeeper stick itself. But there is possibility for us to up the carbon. I mean, we have talked about it, and it may appear.
Okay, and the final stick out of the new range that is announced is the Scorpio,
Yes.
which is your indoor Lobo stick. I believe it's 75% carbon, and again is listed as being reinforced.
Yes. So with our Ares and Ares stick, the carbon was from our customers was spot on. So we decided to keep the same amount of carbon, and again reinforced. In indoor hockey, the sticks do get battered quite a lot. So we said to our production team that we want to reinforce the whole stick to try and stop any cracks that may appear in some sticks. So yeah, that's reinforced.
And do you plan to launch any more indoor sticks later in the year?
Yes, so we've got, obviously it's part of our Zodiac range, and obviously Scorpio with the Scorpion fits lovely in the Egyptian gods range. So there is massive potential for more indoor sticks to arrive, maybe with less carbon, maybe with more, maybe with another wooden stick, who knows.
So let's go back onto some of the technology. So obviously we've talked about the reinforced hitting zone. You also list on all your sticks an improved OH zone.
Yeah.
So your OH zone is the touch compound on the head of the stick.
Yes.
Can you talk me through any of the improvements that you've made?
We've added, so the soft feel touch compound, we've been told that it seemed kind of too smooth and slick. So we've added more of a grip, really, more of a sticky feel to the actual stick itself. The actual head on the stick is kind of shaved down a little bit more. So it was quite bumpy along that side of the stick. So it's kind of shaved down a little bit more. And I don't know if obviously you can see on the camera, but it's obviously added a lot more of the sand finish onto the end of the stick.
Okay, and exactly how far up the stick does that come? Does it go just past the head? Does it go all the way up to the logo?
Yeah, so obviously we've it goes just a quarter up the reinforced hitting zone. But we didn't want it too far up stick because obviously, I mean, yourself drag flicking, would you want a soft feel, a sand finish halfway up the stick? I'm not sure. So we thought we would just keep it low for now.
That actually leads me on to another question. So what goes into your developing of these new stick ranges? So when you are talking about how far up does the touch compound come, how does your decision making work between you and your partner on that?
So obviously our sticks go through rigorous testing, constant. We bring a lot of people in to test our sticks for us, and we know what we want in the sticks, but obviously it's not what we want, it's what the customers want. So obviously we bring in a few people to test out the sticks, and we literally have all their feedback, and we go with the most. So 3 people say no, we want it all the way up the stick, and then 5 people say no, stick, keep it low. We'll go with the higher number, really. But yeah, the decisions we want what the players want. That's the whole part of us. We always want what the players want, and if the players want something, we will try our best to put it into the stick.
And how do you gather that information from the players? Do you send out surveys? So if someone has bought an Omega hockey stick after 6 months, Do you send them out a survey of, do you like the stick? Is there anything that you would like to see improved? Is there any changes you would like? Or do you wait for them to come to you via social media, via emails?
Yeah, I mean, with our sponsors, obviously, we communicate with our sponsors quite well, quite weekly, really, and we do ask them, and we ask obviously our close sponsors who are nearby, who we see quite a lot, and we get all the information from them. We don't physically, if someone's bought a stick, hand out reviews. They review us on Trustpilot, but that is something what I think what we will be doing in the future as well. It's just have a general review of the actual stick itself instead of reviewing the actual company. So that's what we're going to be introducing into our website soon.
Okay, that's really interesting. So with that process of working closely with your sponsored players, do you do any prototype testing where you sort of will order 2 different styles and invite them all to the pitch to have a try and see which one they prefer?
Yeah, so that's exactly what we've done with our Origins range. We went with what we thought we wanted the range to be, and then we handed out sticks to players in the local area, our sponsored athletes in the local area. They tested them and said, this needs more carbon, this needs a low bow instead of an extra low bow, so far, so on and so on. So yeah, that's exactly what we do. We let our sponsors decide what should be, and then we take it back to the drawing board and we mix stuff around, and then we create greatness.
Okay, that sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Is that something that you could potentially offer to some of these pre-orders that you're getting? So the enthusiastic Omega Hockey fans, is that something that you might offer down the line as a reward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we host obviously our like sponsored charity days and stuff. So there is an opportunity. Like last year, there was a chance for our sponsored athletes to try all our sticks before they buy them. Obviously, a couple of non-sponsored athletes came down, and we said, here's a bunch of sticks. Do you want to? You can try them before you buy them, or try out the sticks, see if it's better than the one that you usually have. Yeah, there is massive opportunities for sponsored athletes to get good rewards from us. There's a few out there at the minute who get obviously not special treatment, but they get some stuff to try out.
And that brings us rather nicely onto another point. When you are looking at the sponsorship applications, what do you look for when choosing a sponsored athlete?
That's a good question. At Omega Hockey, we consider any player. We really do. If you're playing at junior level or if you're playing for your country, we have elite packages for players that play for their country or play Premier League or National League, and then there's the low. I won't say lower, but the not the elite packages, where if you play for your county, if you represent certain performance centres, that all comes into it. But mainly is what you like as a person. Are you on social media? Are you not on social media? Are you in love with hockey, or you just do it as a hobby? All these things come into our applications, but we don't throw people away just because they don't reach a certain level in hockey. So we sponsor people from the ages of 13 to the ages of 70. We really don't have a criteria to be sponsored by us.
Having it open to everyone, is there anything that you would like to see on more applications that you don't see enough of?
Yeah, so a lot of the time we have to squeeze it out of them. Where do you play? How long you've been playing for? That's a massive one for us, because the average sponsorship application comes through is, I've been playing for 8 years. I've also represented my county, and then that's it. And then we look at it and think, we need more. Obviously, it seems like he loves hockey. Where do you play? What position do you play? Are you on social media? Can you follow us so we can have a look at your page? You know, what sort of sticks do you like? We basically want your life story on an application. We want from when you started hockey to your recent achievement. We want to know everything about you. And after they're successful and they do get a sponsorship from us, it still carries on. We share your stories. We want to know everything what you do. As soon as you're on that pitch, we want to see it. We want to see if you win, if you lose, if you draw. We just want to see it.
When you're on social media, you're talking about sharing your sponsored players' stories. Can you give me an example?
So one of our sponsors, obviously, I won't put her name out there and stuff, but she did a lot of coaching over the past couple of weeks. One of the first posts she put up is her actually walking to the pitch and explaining who she's coaching, where she's coaching. She's looking forward to it. Boom, that's straight on our story, sharing it. That's one of our sponsors, going out, enjoying hockey, playing, and that's what we do. We share everything. As soon as our name pops up in the tag, you're on it. You're on our story. We want people to see you using our equipment, enjoying our equipment.
So you're looking to promote hockey for all your sponsored athletes?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just, it's not even our brand most of the time. We just want to, show off hockey.
What would you say to a player who is looking at their potential sponsorship applications? How would you pitch to them to choose Omega compared to some of the other brands out there?
So this is the hard question, because there's so many good brands out there. While one offer an amazing clothing range, Otter are the pioneers of affordable hockey equipment. There are very good brands out there. So it's very hard when someone says, what do you do what this brand can't do? And we literally say we want to be the player's brand. Okay, we want to be there for you. We want to back you in your corner. You haven't used our equipment before, so it's hard for you to choose us over a well-known brand. So all we say is, look at our social media pages, look at the reviews on our website, and it speaks for itself. We are a very good brand. We believe we're a very good brand. We believe we make very good equipment. You have to see it for yourselves. If you don't like it, you'll have your money back. It's a very hard question when there's so many good brands out there, and it is literally a dogfight for who is the better brand. But it all goes off using the equipment.
And painting yourself as the people's brand, and as you've talked about, sharing good hockey moments on your story. Is there ever a situation where you have had to distance yourself from that reputation and have a word with any of your sponsored athletes?
As in a negative way?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, there was obviously when sponsoring a player, obviously they have to sign a contract. So there is sometimes times where that player may use a different person's equipment, and obviously you have to be nice but firm with them and say, contract sign, unfortunately you have to use our equipment. If you don't want to be a part of our brand, you want to use that equipment, then feel free. But other than that, whereas if someone's done something that isn't in our policy or isn't in our vision, we haven't come across that yet, which it's good to say that. But obviously I can't say it will never happen, but I'm sure if it did happen, we'll obviously approach it in the best way possible.
No, that's a great answer. The fact that you haven't suggests that you are probably going through the applications and picking out the best people.
No, like I said, we consider everyone. I mean, we do sponsor international players, and then we do sponsor the player who's just been playing for 6 months, who's getting on very well. I mean, it's not like we will sponsor literally everyone, because there is sometimes where people apply for a sponsorship and then they come back to us saying, I've got a better offer, so I'm going elsewhere. We're like, good luck in the future. We wish you all the best of luck. We just sponsor people who we think who will promote us and be a good name for Omega.
Yeah, so let's swing back to something that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned about your sponsored players trying out your new range at a charity tournament.
Yes.
Is that something that we are going to see again this season? Obviously, the world is in the situation it's in at the time of recording, but hopefully that's slowly going to be phased out over the next 6 months.
This year, so we are having obviously our sponsors there, but this year we're opening it up to the public, so it is a bigger tournament. So our new range for next year won't be there, but they obviously we will have our latest range there for people to try, and maybe some little future goodies what will be released later on in the year will be there as well for people to look at, test, and try out.
And what charity is that in support of?
So this year, last year was Hockey for Heroes. This year is cancer research. So we're going off obviously the Priscilla stick. So this year we're doing it for cancer research.
Thank you for your time, Sam. If you want to get yourself an Omega Hockey stick, head over to omegahockey.com. Their pre-order window is open now, and if you order now, you will receive your stick 2 weeks ahead of the official release. Thank you very much for your time listening, and stay